Your algorithm profile explained. This is part 3 of a video idea turned series where I explain how curiosity leads to boredom. Instead of continuously repeating myself, I think that having accountability and accepting that maybe the inconvenient way is the right way and the non-immediate satisfaction of our interests is how it is that we truly arrive at curiosity and the benefits of curiosity. So the first 2 videos of this series explains algorithm and profile, and in this video I'll provide fair game for anyone who would like to critique my solutions as I did with page melts. And so this video will present 3 critiquable, unrealistic, inconvenient, but actionable steps towards or possible solution to actually satisfying a curiosity or orienting one's curiosity in a way that doesn't lead to boredom, or something that I could actually say flattening. It is something that before page melt was within a conversation that I had with a gelateria owner in Sicily. But yeah, the word flattening and flatten is watch this space, or this space. I feel like this word is going to be very pertinent. So the video is going to suggest 3 solutions, I said. Don't settle, discomfort, uncertainty regarding timelessness and utility. Don't feed, which covers alternative platforms or services that don't follow the personalization trend. And the third, which is demystify, or to make concrete, opt out, or own your own actions. It's not about blaming yourself, but really identifying what it is that you are responsible for, and in that way, what it is that you're capable of doing in terms of your profile and your relationship to the algorithm. So let's begin with the video. Hi, my name is Wani. I am a philosophy student at La Sorbonne. What's the point of the series? The point of this series is essentially, in a way, making us aware of how it is that we're responsible for being bored. In terms of, as I said in my second video, we have engaged in a service that gives us exactly what we want. And getting exactly what we want leads to boredom. Instead of continuously repeating myself, I think that having accountability and accepting that maybe the inconvenient way is the right way and the non-immediate satisfaction of our interests is how it is that we truly arrive at curiosity and the benefits of curiosity and the enjoyments of curiosity. And curiosity, as defined by Leonardo da Vinci, because I'm that type of person, is comprised of 2 things. It is of fear and desire. The fear of not knowing what's in the cave, but the desire to see what wonders it might hold. And the main point of that is you are ready for a surprise. You are not anticipating what it is that you want to look for. You are just there to experience something completely different. And the only way to do that is not to rely on a service that does not give you that. The first one, don't settle, so embrace the delay. What this means is that search for deep experts and the work that comes with it. I think like one of the most satisfying things that I had with my videos recently is that someone read Kandinsky and then watched my videos and was able to comment in a very thoughtful way on what it is that I said because they read the book. The point of my work in this video and this channel is not to philosophize for you. It's not to give you answers. It's to provoke questions and to also show you how it is that you can arrive at the point to do this activity called philosophizing, to kind of demystify the whole process. The best example that I can give about this is basically from 2 professors. One, he gives you lists of really great books and lectures that you know that he's just basically giving you the most superficial read of all these things that he knows. And you learn from reading those books that he recommended, not from his lectures. And the second is a professor who I was just like, you brought us to the door of Heidegger, but it's such a shame that you didn't take us through it. Like, you didn't read it with us, you didn't do all these things because of a lot of different reasons. And he literally just said to the class, because everyone had the same feeling, was read the text directly. Even if you don't understand it, reading the text itself transforms your mind. And it's a whole Hegelian thing. Watch that video that I got a really great grade from, and a lot of people were really insulted by the fact that I shared the fact that I got a really good grade, and actually understand how it is the opposition of your mind with an object is actually what transforms your mind. But back to this point, accept the fact that if you actually want to have the satisfaction of true curiosity, you need to put in the work and you need to go to a deep expert. So it could be a professor, it could be someone that you really admire their path. It could be, I don't know, engaging with someone that you know puts in the work, you know that they study. It was defined in my other video as knowledge of both intricacies and big picture issues in a particular domain through substantial investment of time and labor. So someone who's actually put in time and labor to actually understand is how you would define a deep expert. Like there's this like sentiment about, oh, it's like stop showing off your grades. Like what does it have to do with philosophy? Me sharing my grades, if you want to have a non-charitable view on it, would just be, oh, tell me I'm extremely smart or whatever. Or, which is the point that I share it, is to just literally be like, look, I'm in an institution that is the most recognized in France as being the best for philosophy. And what I'm saying has been quality controlled or checked to be in alignment with the actual understanding of the text and not just whatever I think for funsies. Because like if there's no tension between how it is that, you know, we interpret things and how it is that it currently is or how it is that it's received by other people, then you're speaking into a void and you're watching me for absolutely no reason. So accept the discomfort of being stupid. If you go to that video again, some German guy was just like, I don't understand why this person is having fun with philosophy, speaking in French and pronouncing German words. I'm like, dude, like, don't be that guy. Like, this is why people don't like learning or feel bad about learning. Of course, like, if I was a native German speaker and I had like that, still shouldn't judge people in general. But like, if someone is picking up German as their like fourth language or like fifth language, like, what is your problem? You have to get through like the baby steps to like, you know, enjoy being able to be like, oh my God, like I learned German. But anyway, enjoy the discomfort, enjoy feeling stupid once, because that is part of this sensation of learning, because you're like, oh, I didn't get it before and now I do. So don't settle. The other thing I wrote was about uncertainty. The fact that you don't have your answers immediately answered is a great thing. One of my professors, I'm just like, we were just talking and out of nowhere, I was just like, yeah, so what's beauty? And he like paused. And he's like, you can't define it. Or I can't define it. And like the amount of respect that I have for professors who's like, you know, I ask like a lot of random questions, but like the ones who like take them seriously as well, and like says to me like, I don't have that answer for you right now. And it's because they actually think about the thing that they're going to say. Like the worst person would be like, you ask them a question and they like try to cobble something on the spot and don't actually really consider what it is that you're looking for. So yeah, be okay with uncertainty, be okay with not knowing immediately, and be okay with understanding that the big picture is necessary. And the only way that you get to the big picture is to not assume that the small information is everything. What I'm trying to say is that like the thing that you're looking for could just be like thing that is actually super huge, that you require a lot of small little details to actually understand completely. Okay, so part one, don't settle. Don't seek immediate gratification and be brave. That's part one. The second part, which is don't feed. So separate your private and your public online presence, or just separate it in general. Like, so the way that I define this kind of in my second video is that we are the ones who open this browser to use this service, and we are doing actions with our hands, searching, which shows our habits. And those habits outline our profile. So if you want a certain profile, it's the same as like when you go to work, you have a different profile, right? Like I would hope. And then like, you know, when you're with your lover, like you have a different profile. Again, I would hope, unless like you work with your lover and then that's something else. But my point is that you have different habits in front of your boss than you would have in front of your lover. And let's just again say that these are separate. Or more simply, like you would treat your mom or your dad differently from your sibling or from your friend. So if you don't want your habits to be part of the silhouette of your digital twin, what I would recommend is basically like two things. One, instead of using Google search, you use DuckDuckGo. I call this series again inconvenient because I don't know if you've ever used DuckDuckGo, but it's so annoying because it is exactly the thing that's designed with a different kind of algorithm. One that doesn't follow the trend of personalization because it doesn't save your data. But that means that you will look at this and you're like, this is not what I was looking for. And then you would feel like, I'm not getting what I'm looking for, and then you won't use it. But that's the whole point. But I'm just saying, like, you're still able to search for things on the internet, but you just need to take more time. It's still available. It's still what is available on both. I mean, unless I'm wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding is that whatever Google can access, DuckDuckGo can access, but DuckDuckGo doesn't keep your browser history, so you don't actually create a digital twin. So in that way, you will not be bored, but you'll be extremely annoyed because it's going to take you a lot more time to get your satisfaction. The other thing you can use is that instead of Gmail, use stuff like Proton Mail. Essentially, that is like encrypted and they don't use your information in the same way. There's like another one that I saw, I think it's like Rise Up or something, and I googled it, and I think it's to do with people who are manifesteurs, like they are people who protest a lot and they just want to maintain their privacy because, you know, the government and the resistance to certain policies of the government, it's not something that people in powerful places want. So this is why they have that kind of email. I don't feel the pinch as much as the difference between Google Chrome and DuckDuckGo. So that's what I want to say about don't feed. So the third unrealistic or inconvenient solution that I have for you is to demystify or make concrete. So one of the things about the book that I mentioned, The Nightmare of Prometheus, there are a lot of things in his attitude in writing which I mentioned that I love, which is he will say stuff like, you know, it will make you think that, it will convince you that. It was this idea that Page Melt mentioned. Big tech wants to tell you how to use the internet, but they can't monopolize it. And that I agree. I think we forget that we can actually use other ways of using the internet outside of these services. But again, just a quick reminder of the difference between what was proposed by PageMelt and what I'm proposing, or what I just proposed, is that you use DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine, versus the other search engine, which is Google. And not from a content receiver or content searcher to a content creator, because to me it's like il n'y a rien à voir, like it has nothing in common. But just to bring this back to Longo, it's this idea of being convinced, or like the fact that you have a certain kind of orientation to a point of view that colors how it is that you even understand anything. First, he talked about the importance of actually understanding definitions, or as I see it, as the proper context of understanding what the algorithm means outside of this immediate social media application of what it is used for, instead of what the definition of the algorithm based on its mathematical foundation and origin. Also, from my understanding of his introduction and first chapter, was this need or desire to really get people away from this idea of this impending boogeyman. Like the thing that I quoted in my first video, which is, there is no algorithm that decides this and calculates that. And this whole reframing, if you see it in this way, you won't have this idea that the algorithm controls everything, or just something that's completely transcendent our reach. So my other reference point is that when I went to see Malibu once speak at this conference thing, was that she mentioned the difference between the state and the government, and she said that we need to get rid of this idea of the state, because once you have this transcendent object in front of you, you cannot fix it in any way, because concretely you just can't. Transcendent is the thing that passes our perception, so like how are you supposed to attack it? The idea is to see it as the government. And the point that I just want to drive home is that we need to stop this idea of big tech. We need to stop this mystifying of how it is that the algorithm works. It is compiled by companies and services that want our attention and want to make money off us. And you choose whether or not you opt in or you opt out of the service. It's really that simple. You can go to a library instead of going online. Yes, I said that these were unrealistic and inconvenient solutions, but no one can actually track unless you borrow an actual book, unless someone's like, you know, following and like seeing every book that you borrow. Unless someone's doing that, no one can actually track what it is that you're looking for. I'm just saying that there are options, and we shouldn't be convinced, or we shouldn't be brought to believe a lot of different things. But the main thing is that the only way for us to get knowledge is through a search engine, and not traveling, not talking to people when we're traveling, not making friends, not appreciating friends, not cultivating friends, not cultivating friendships, not cultivating yourself from like different things that you can do outside of the search engines to attain knowledge. Hi, so I don't know if I can cross the road. It doesn't look like it's the case. But what I wanted to say was that I think the best way for us to break out algo is to fall in love. So whether it be a person or a friend, oh god, welcome to Paris. Whether it be a person or a friend, I can't, oh my god. I mean, at least the statue is pretty. But as I was saying, I think like the only way to actually break your algo is to basically get involved in someone else's profile. Get to know a person, find them interesting, what makes them tick, what movies they like to watch, what books they like to read. The amount of times that I basically had my life changed was based on people that basically got my interest. And yeah, I hope that this was helpful. Back to the video. Big tech is specific groups of people who are essentially greedy nerds who just want to make money. And if you don't like the service, don't use it. And the comparison that I can simply make is, you know, they say like if you don't like society, then just opt out. Or like if you don't like a country and how it's running, like opt out. It's something that Plato really likes saying. And I actually know a person who actually has opted out of civilization for 3 years and lived in the mountains. Yes, at some point you have to return to earn money to do it, but that was actually 3 whole years of having the least amount of things that they had to abide by, these terms and conditions and these rights that you want to have as a citizen, that they didn't have to abide by choosing to actually remove themselves from as many of these conditions as possible. So it's an extreme example, but I'm just showing you that unrealistic and inconvenient, but totally doable. And I still do think it's more doable than learning how to code to create your own page on a different platform. The last thing I want to add before my summation sentence is this thing about dating apps. And it's something that Liz has brought up in the Discord channel. But essentially the idea that came to me was that, yes, you know, you get fed up about like the algorithm picking your partners for you. I used this analogy somewhere else in one of the videos, maybe this one, I don't remember. But you know that there's an option to not use the app, right? Like, what, you think that life isn't already in a way like calculated? The example that I used with the bookstore from my first video, your demographic, your interests in life, where you place your body, yes, it's restricted based on determinations and stuff, but for the most part, in the end, based on your determinations, you make the choices within your determinations. So whoever you come across on the street, that's already like a fraction of the amount of people in the world. Like, I don't know like how obvious to make this, but it's the same with like dating apps. Like, if you don't like what it is that it's serving you, don't swipe, don't have the application. And yeah, if you're like, oh, then I'm gonna die alone. First off, you can't avoid that. All of us are gonna die alone. But in the meantime, you just gotta pick your battles. If you don't like this in this way, like, you do it in a different way. What else did I write? You're gonna die alone, too bad, but in the meantime, go live in the concrete world, talk to people. If you think you're kind and interesting, there must be at least one more of us. So yeah, like that's my advice, and it brings me to my very last conclusion line, which is realize that real life is less boring than the internet, because the internet is only an abstraction of real life. So I hope you find that helpful. I had a lot more fun than I thought I would recording this, and I'll talk to you soon.